All right. We are live.
Yes, we are.
And we're just waiting for everyone to enter. We'll give it a few minutes. Live. Hello there. Hello there. All right. Do. We have a few people entering. I love it. Hello, Carla. Love to see you.
Thank you for joining us.
And I probably have to put some bass in my voice because, you know, we have our inside voices on right now, Nicole.
Do
right? I think we both do.
I thought that's how I just sound.
I mean, we do.
Sweet and sexy.
Hello there, K-Sweat75. All right.
Good evening.
Hello there, Nadine.
Welcome to the chat.
Welcome. Hello. To see everybody jumping on. And just a few more seconds. We're gonna allow a couple more people to come into the room. I'm so excited. So, full transparency before we get into this. Hello, Sean. How are you? Good to see you. So, full transparency. This is my first time live.
Mine too.
Okay.
And we planned this on when? Monday.
Right. Like, why not? Why not?
Let's just go.
I mean, because originally, you know, from our Women of Exodus roundtable on probably a little over a week ago now, and we had such a great conversation, and we said we were going to get on here and do it again.
Correct.
And life happens, right? And sometimes you just got to pivot and you roll with it. So we decided to do something a little different. We decided, why not go live, right? So this is both our first time together.
Yep.
But not the last. So see these faces? Get used to them because you're going to see them a lot. All right. So while we have some more people entering the room. Hello there. Hello, Women of Exodus. And I see we have some gentlemen joining, which I absolutely love because I think this conversation is bigger than women, right?
Yep.
You know, I think this is definitely something that the fellas can also benefit from, which is why we kind of came to the conclusion that we needed to share this because...
Right, burnout doesn't discriminate.
Listen. So my good friend, or as I call her, my good Judy over here, Nicole, we're going to kind of jump into this because one of the things that made me kind of get in here, and hello, Nikki. Good to see you, Nikki, darling. One of the things that made me want to go live with this, because this is something I felt like I wanted to share with more than just my Women of Exodus, because like Nicole says, burnout does not discriminate. And so for everybody that is on with us right now, thank you so much. Welcome to our roundtable series. This is volume 2. So I am your hostess with the mostest, of course. I am Kadada Amani. And tonight we will be discussing recovering, resetting, and refocusing. And I am with my wonderful friend and licensed counselor, Mrs. Nicole Bartell.
Yes.
And she is a licensed counselor for the city of Atlanta. However, in addition to her being a licensed counselor, she is also the creator of the 14-day Recovery Burnout and Reset Plan, which I am currently participating in because, you know, sometimes life just starts lifing on you, and you just need some things to kind of reel you in and bring you back, right? So absolutely love what this plan has brought into my life, some really resourceful tools. So before we get into the plan, Nicole, I just want to kind of just see or ask the question, because it kind of came right on time. So I had the privilege of being one of the few selected people to kind of pilot this program for you. And while it's a 14-day reset, I keep going back to certain days. Hello there, Gina. So I keep going back to certain days in the plan, and guys, when you get into it, you'll understand why. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, what made you even create this plan, right? Because there had to be a moment, potentially, I would assume, in your practice or maybe even your personal life that prompted you to say, okay, I think people need this.
So when I think of burnout, I've been a therapist for 19 years, and I work with individuals, like you were saying, with the city of Atlanta and public safety. So public safety, I work specifically with police officers, firefighters, correction officers, and the E911 operators, right? And so what I was noticing was a trend, right? You have a group of people in public safety, so I'm just going to use them as an example, professionals who were really burnt out on the job. But then I sat in my own space and recognized that after 19 years of doing this, the energy that I take on, right? And how do you reset after, just for example, on Monday I saw 9 clients, right? How do you reset after that, after taking on 9 personalities, 9 stories, right? And not just their story, but their past traumas, right? Their critical incidences, their life stories. I recognized that I was in burnout. Right?
Okay. I mean, I would imagine, because you're kind of taking on other people's stuff, right?
My burnout showed up physically. I had shingles, right? And so that's when I knew I, for myself, had to do something different, because I was in go mode, right? Fight or flight. You keep going, right? Who has the time to stop when you have a husband, you have a child that's very active, you're consulting, you're working, you know, you want to try to engage in outside activities. So I had to kind of stop, and I had to put up really stringent boundaries, not for other people, but for myself. So I just recognized
There's that B word.
I just recognized that I was burnt out. I was just taking on too much in my personal life and in my career. So that's where this came from.
So I mean, now I would imagine, of course, just based on what you do and the clients that you see. So these are people that are dealing with constant trauma, stressful situations on a regular basis. So like for the everyday or the average individual, you know, when we think about our everyday stress versus what burnout really is, right? And I think it would be helpful too, because I think sometimes people combine the two or confuse the two.
Right.
Like, what's the difference between stress and burnout? How do you know?
So burnout, of course, it does include stress, right? But it's that emotional stress, right? You become detached sometimes. You are so overwhelmed at times, but you keep going, right? And sometimes we get to that breaking point. So you have the physical aspect of it. I'm physically burnt out. Like my body, I have to respond to what's going on in my body. And then there's that emotional burnout. Sometimes you become numb to things, right? I don't want to deal with it, so I stuff it, I'm burnt out. And then there's the just exhaustion. So it's not that, you know, a person is unmotivated or lazy. You're not broken. You are burnt out.
So let's just check in with some of...
And let me just say this. Most people in burnout are in survival mode.
Okay. So many layers to what we're talking about, because I want to check in with some of the people in the chat. So do me a favor, guys, and comment in the chat and tell us, first of all, do you feel like you were in a situation where you've experienced burnout, or maybe were you stressed? I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. We can see. So just do me a favor and drop that in the chat for us. And in the plan, Nicole, you talked about a couple different things, right?
Mm-hmm. It's 14 days.
Yes, it is 14 days, because I do want to ask a question around that as well, too, because I know you and I discussed before about, and I think some of us probably can relate to this. It takes, 28 days to form a habit?
Correct.
So when you design this plan, 14 days. Mm-hmm. Why 14 days? Not 7, not 21, not 28. Why 14?
Well, the burnout recovery is really, I want it to become a lifestyle, right?
Okay.
And a lot of time when we place too much emphasis on a time frame, we lose interest. If we don't reach that goal, we feel like we failed ourselves. And so I didn't want to put anything out there that would be too overwhelming. It's a very easy to follow plan. It's light. And what I like about it is you can pick it up every day, right? You can put it down like you can go back to certain chapters and kind of take your time working through it. So I didn't want to do anything that was too short where it's like, okay, I don't think I got enough. But I didn't want to do anything that would become too overwhelming at the same time.
You want to make it attainable for people,
correct.
Like something people would get into and
correct.
get into every day.
And once you purchase the burnout, or once you start working in this plan, you realize that after the 14 days, you're not done. You want to continuously work through the program.
Got you.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of comments. So Sean Bass 16, she says, she thinks she's experienced all of the above. So
right.
Stress,
right.
burnout,
right.
all of it.
The emotional disconnection, isolating yourself sometimes so that you feel like, okay, if I isolate, meaning you go into a place where you don't want to be bothered, which is not bad. If your reset includes some positive coping skill. You don't want to isolate in depression.
Okay, because I was thinking that was an age thing.
No.
I was like, wait, am I just tired of people? Or like, what is happening? Do I not want to engage? Like, what's going on?
Isolate to reset, but it should be healthy, right?
Got you.
Maybe I do want to spend some time on my porch, just in nature,
right.
reading my devotion. I don't need to be in a dark room because today overwhelmed me and all I'm doing is cycling through my thoughts. It's a difference between
cycling through your thoughts and then maybe even others too. And I can imagine that's probably something that you contend with regularly being a counselor.
Yes.
I'm looking in the comments again. K-Sweat75 is saying being an emotional dumpster becomes exhausting. So
correct.
Again, taking on other people's problems,
correct.
Other people's stress.
And that's where I got
or being available for everybody's nonsense, right?
And it doesn't even have to be nonsense. You know, sometimes people need us. We have people who do
correct,
need us,
correct.
Right? But you might not be in a space at that particular time to assist them. You might not be emotionally engaged. You might be going through something. And we talked about this yesterday. No is not a negative term. It's very definitive, right? And it is very important, and that's where our boundaries start. We have to use the term no, and not just for other people, but for ourselves, right? Am I going to take this call after 9 p.m. when I know I should be working on my sleep regimen, right? You know, if it's an emergency, yes, but I need to do my visualizations tonight, you know? And so do I need to be sending pictures of lipstick to Kadada to see what I should pair it with tomorrow? No. You know, and that's part of my self-care as well.
Right.
But you have to set boundaries.
Beauty is
for
wellness.
yourself. Correct.
Beauty is wellness. And I'm so glad you brought that up again, boundaries, because we are hearing so many people talk about boundaries and setting boundaries, and how hard is it to enforce those boundaries? Because I know, again, that's something that you do discuss in the plan.
Right.
I know, like you just mentioned, for me, setting a boundary for me, this was probably, I think, maybe day 5 in the plan where we talked about like creating a stop time. Like I literally got to the point where I had to set and put on a do not disturb at a certain time, because I am super guilty of this. Because you know, we're going to talk about one of the patterns of being burned out, that overfunctioning, high overfunctioning. That's me. And
most of us are perfectionists.
Yes, and I will keep going and going
Right.
and going to the point. Sometimes my husband has to tell me, like,
Bring
hey, reel it in. Like, are you ending this? Are you coming to join the rest of the real world? What are you doing? So
boundaries. There are a couple of different factors when we're talking about boundaries. Do you have them for yourself? And have you employed them so other people know how to treat you?
That part. So yes, again, enforcing the boundaries, right? Because
and it's not easy. So you ask that question.
It is not.
It's not easy, right? But the thing about it is, think about a situation where you do need to. Can anybody drop in the chat a situation where they need to enforce a boundary, right?
Yes.
At work, in your relationship with your child, you know, think about it. That it might be something that you have been consistently doing over a period of time. It's hard to stop doing things that we've consistently been doing over a period
Especially
of time.
for people you love, because I find that's the hardest line in the sand to draw when it comes to family and
but we can
friends that you love.
And we can pivot. And when it comes to boundaries, you have to start becoming very consistent. So I have worked in many arenas. A lot of time, the bulk of my career was spent working for the crisis line for the state of Georgia, 14 years. And as a supervisor, as a manager, like there were no boundaries with calling me after hours, right? Yeah. And so I had to choose wellness, right? How much more can my body take? How much more mentally, you know? And so where I am now in my career, because I was in survival mode there. I'm just going to be honest. But where I am in my career now, I don't answer my phone, my work issued phone after 5 p.m. My director knows. If there is an emergency in the city of Atlanta and they need me, call my personal phone, and then I can decide if I need to answer. Right? And that's just one example. And teaching people how to treat us, unlearning behaviors.
So what does that look like? Because that we can talk about that all day long, right? Teaching people how to treat us, or you know, like when you say setting boundaries is a lifestyle,
it is.
What does that look like every day? Like, what are you doing? What are the steps? Because I don't think some of us know how.
It starts with effective communication. What effective communication is being able to express yourself entirely and explaining to other people exactly what you need, right?
Okay.
And in telling them that you've put it out there, I need you to do this, right? I need you to not call me after 8 p.m. because, effectively, I'm going to tell you, and I don't have to tell you why, but I'm probably going to tell you. I'm spending time with my family. Mm-hmm. This is the time that I spend by myself, and I'm in my still space. And so I don't want to be, I don't need the distraction, right? You can take that how you like it. I'm just kidding. No. But when you consistently are able to communicate effectively, that's where you start to enforce those boundaries, right? Mm-hmm. Now, enforcing boundaries for yourself, that's where you have to be intentional about your own behaviors. So if that phone's ring and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to answer it, that's on you at that point, because you've already expressed to the other person, right? When you're in a relationship, whether it's with your husband, a relationship with a sibling, you have to be able to effectively communicate it, but it's on you to follow through with those behaviors for your boundaries.
Boundaries and setting the standard, the expectation. So all of these things, right? And you and you mentioned patterns. Mm-hmm. Now, I know I can't be the only one, right? So you talked about in the plan too, different patterns of what burnout looks like and how it shows up mm-hmm. for us. It could come through the form of, you mentioned overfunctioning, you mentioned always being on, mm-hmm. perfectionism, emotional suppression, and disconnecting.
And yes, disconnecting spiritually too.
Which one are you guys? Drop it in the comments. Are you the overfunctioning burnout? Are you the perfectionism burnout? Are you the emotional, like, don't like to show feelings, do feelings, you're not into the feelings thing? Are you the person that just likes to disconnect from people? Tell us who you are. Drop it in the comments. Let us know, because I think having gone through this plan and still going through it and just kind of identifying my own patterns and where I need to do better in preserving myself, mm-hmm. and setting boundaries with others, or like you said, because people do need us, you know what I'm saying? Like, I found myself using these tools very heavily. And I think I mentioned it in the video that we were talking about that brought us to this conversation, like with my mom, just contending, with some things, right? And seeing her go through, treatments and how that affects us, right? Mm-hmm, especially being, a caregiver, yes. And watching my sister be a caregiver full time, because mm-hmm. she's there with her mm-hmm. full time in that space. So what, can you walk us through, like, a couple of those patterns? And I think we're all, like, I'm looking in the chat right now. Gina Gibson says she is guilty of the overfunctioning. Sean definitely says overfunctioning and no boundaries, right? So I think we're all pretty clear on those, but let's talk about the emotional suppression. And then I think even the always being on is important, because
so always being
we live in Atlanta,
right? And so really, like, the always being on and the clear stop, right? Mm-hmm. You have to acknowledge how much you're doing. A lot of times we're on go, right? We don't know when to stop, and when we do stop, we feel like we're not doing enough. We're not working in our purpose. We're mm-hmm. not mm-hmm. we're not, we're just not enough sometimes. So someone just asked about tools.
Yes, I see Carla Vanessa, the artist. I'm overfunctioning. I need the tools to maintain. Seriously, Carla, like, this has definitely helped. So
Carla, this plan will help you, right? There are so many tools that you can go back to we just talked about. I used to bowl, right?
Me too.
8th grade.
Yes.
I used to bowl. I don't remember my average, but when you think about tools, you want to work with tools that you enjoy. I don't want this plan to feel heavy, right? Think of things that you like to do. When I'm sitting in a session with someone, I'm asking them, tell me some of the coping skills you've had before. And I've had people never have a coping skill. They're like, well, what is that?
Yeah. But bowling was a coping skill for me. I would get up at 2, 3 in the morning sometimes and just go bowling.
I teach a lot of mindfulness. I teach a lot of breathing exercises. You need to be in tune with your body. I think I said this a little earlier. Where do I feel pain, right? If I'm up at 3 in the morning and I am cycling through these anxious thoughts because I'm stressful, that's something to acknowledge, right? And sometimes we don't know. And I talk to people all the time. They're like, well, Nicole, they're not bad thoughts. I'm just up but your mind needs to slow down. Our organs need to slow down in order to reset every single day. That's where cancer comes in. That's where ulcers start. That's where cardiac issues start. So if you're not working in a place of wellness for yourself, you could be facing those obstacles, right? And so when I think of tools, if you are a spiritual person, right, your prayer and your devotion. If you are an active person, exercise, Pilates, yoga, therapy. Let's start there. Therapy
will save your life. Hi.
And there are a lot of people who maybe not be in a space where they're experiencing full-on burnout. But I'll talk to people all the time, and I'm like, maintenance, right? You don't know what you need until you know what you need.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I talk to people about, just sitting down and being able to have a conversation with someone who's not going to judge you, who's not going to have an opinion, who's going to be very neutral. And so those are some tools that you can start with. Learning how to pivot. We talked about this. Away from negative thinking. That takes work. You have to be committed to that. You have to be committed to yourself to start on a plan for all of this. And that's important.
I love that you said that. Like, we got to be intentional and we got to be committed to doing the work.
Correct.
And it can, sound cliche sometimes when people say, like, oh, you got to do the work, you got to put the work in. But no truer words have been spoken. Like, if you are really, truly not intentional about your wellness, about the things that we are thinking, and this is something, I know I don't get it right all the time, but I am so much better now just using certain tools. Like, in the chat, I see guided imagery.
So let's talk about that for a minute. I am a very, very visual person. I do guided imagery every single day, right? It starts with your thoughts. Someone else said words have power. Yes. You have to speak life over your life.
006.
Like, I'm going to self-disclose. In 2016, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Most people on here know this. And I just thought that it was going to be life-ending because 3 months prior to me being diagnosed, my sister passed away from complications of multiple sclerosis. So I saw her journey through that process. I saw her go from being a vibrant person to needing a feeding tube and then ultimately passing away. So when I was diagnosed, I'm like, that's my story.
So can I ask a question with that? Because this is something actually that I just recently learned when it comes to stress and burnout and how it affects us, not just mentally, but physically, right? And having just gone through and learning all of this in my own, in my program, I just, of course, I just recently got my master's in mental health and wellness. And one of the things that continued to blow me away in my learning the whole time was how connected this is to this.
Correct.
And like you said, conditions, autoimmune conditions specifically, like multiple sclerosis, cancer, all of those things. How it manifests in your body, but it starts here and works its way through and shows up in everything. So can you
and so I was diagnosed
about that?
And I thought it was the end of the world. I went into a deep depression, and God brought me to one of the best doctors in the nation. I don't know how, it was God. And what she said to me is, I'm going to treat you like my child. And that God spoke to me. And a few years later, and I think Gina is on here, she knows this story, but my lesion shrunk. The lesion on my brain shrunk. And my doctor was blown away, and she said that it could only be the way I think about having MS, my positivity. And so I wake up every day grateful. You have to work in gratitude. That is very important. Even if you go outside and your tire is flat, thank God for roadside assistance. Thank God for a spare. Thank God that tomorrow you'll be able to get a tire. And if you can't afford one, pray to God that visualize a new set of tires.
Guided
Not
imagery.
just the one, but the 4.
Because that perspective.
Yes.
And we had this conversation yesterday. It's perspective sometimes.
Correct.
Not even about what's happening to you as much as it is for you, right?
Yes.
I see Mrs. D. Hardy. Hello there. Our mental health is just as important as our physical health. And I could not agree more, because those things that you just mentioned, having contended with a lot of those things because of so many life transitions, all back to back. One of the things that really even pushed me into getting into this field even more, because nobody talks to us about the mental fortitude that it takes when you're going through anything physically, going to the doctor, having to, do follow-ups on a regular basis, or the mindset that it takes to almost will your body back into health, right?
Correct. And this is what I want to say overall, like holistically. Your mind, your body, your emotions, like mentally, everything is connected. So if one piece of that puzzle is not functioning, then you're going to fall short in the other areas. And so that is important. And when I thought about like this whole burnout recovery program, I'm like, where do we go, right? We said it earlier, you don't know what you need until you have access to the information. I'm talking to a group of African American people on today, right? I talk to most of the population that I work with, probably 90% African American. And it's like we take our problems to church. Now, I do use prayer in my spirituality, but I can't do that alone. I have to do the work.
How does that work for people who may not have a spiritual life?
If you don't have a spiritual life, I am not going to judge you for that. But you have to be connected to something or somebody. So having platforms like this, sitting down and journaling, that is important. And your journal could be, I'm listening to a book right now. I forget the name of it. What's the book?
Oh my gosh. Here we go. Like the book is by,
we'll get you.
Yes, we're going to get it. We're getting checked. Oh my gosh. I can't believe
so
you
funny
blank.
that, I attend a vision board party once a year. I think a lot of us do. And this year, instead of a vision board, I decided with the group that I was going to do a vision journal book. Right? That works for me. We all have to figure out what works for us. I know growing up in an African American household, it was take it to church, right? We don't tell the house business, right? We're not talking about our cousin who has special needs, and we hold things in and we stuff them. So my hope is that if one person on tonight, something resonates, right? And we're not going through the entire plan tonight. This is kind of just a preview. And we're just touching on the topic of burnout, really lightly. But it is extremely important that if you are experiencing burnout, if you feel like I am emotionally drained, if you feel like I've been isolating, if any of this resonates with you, if you feel like physically drained, it's important to now start and hit reset, right? They say we can reset every single day. I think that's important. One other thing that Kadada mentioned was the clear stop.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We don't know how to turn the button off. Right? Where do we stop? And what I explained to Kadada is, in my office, I don't have any windows. And so at first, it really bothered me. I'm like, I am in the dungeon. But I had to make my space conducive to feeling like the ambiance was just very inviting and warming. And now people don't want to leave my office, right? But I still have to get out of that space because of the energy that comes into that space. So what I've done, I have a clear stop every single day that I'm at my office where I get up and I walk out of my suite in order to hit reset. You can hit reset, and I say every day, throughout the day, right? Let me take a few minutes. That's all you need. And in those few minutes, you can read a book.
And
you could listen to.
And speaking of books, found the book.
Okay.
So it's in the chat, guys. So it's by Edwina Finley, and it's called "The World Is Waiting on You." Excellent book. Clearly, it is, right? Because we both read it and we both listened to it just recently. Is one of the books actually that, you know, prompted and kind of changed my perspective on some things, and especially when it comes to positivity and thoughts. And when we're look, I want to go to the chat really quickly because we had a lot of people who were commenting on, you know, what you were saying about gratitude. Carla Vanessa talked about operating in gratitude. Sean, indefinite agreement. Gina, and yes, Nadine. Amen. Thank you, God, for all the things you've done, right? Because clearly we both definitely have a spiritual life that connects us to definitely a higher power to get us through. So Gina talked about she moved from vision boards to prayer boards. Those are very super helpful. Listen, what's that? Abundantly. Oh, I love that.
Alicia.
Abundantly. Hey, abundantly. Listen, that book will bless your life. Highly recommend it. Go get it right after this live, okay?
And let me say one thing about reset, and I say that it's not enough. Hitting reset, right? Reset is not just stopping. And I know that I said, you know, I reset throughout the day, but when you reset, you don't just sit there, right? I want you to be still, but you have to do the work. And doing the work means doing those things we talked about, right? The physical. We have a gym rat on, Miss Crystal Hardy, right? You can get up at 5 a.m. and see her at the gym. She gets her wellness started every single morning like that. Gina, I know her prayer walk. That's part of her wellness. That's not the only thing, right?
So really just establishing some type of routine for yourself, like you said, whatever works.
But being intentional about it and being able to pivot when you feel like, okay, this isn't enough or I'm not seeing any results, right?
And what that feels like in your body too. Again, paying attention to what you're feeling in your body at different times.
Correct. Because stress resonates all over.
Listen.
Right.
You could be on a Zoom call and paying attention to just how your body is responding to different types of communication, how you receive information from other people. Right. You know, you can feel it in your body vibrating. You talked about the butterflies that we feel in our stomach sometimes, going into different situations and encountering different experiences. So,
and is that Kaylin?
Kaylin, people confuse Hello there, Kaylin. Hi. Thank you for joining us.
Confused being still with doing nothing. Right. Being still.
That part.
Doing nothing is okay. Right?
But why do so many of us think it's not okay?
We're used to going. We're used to going. Like, we live in a world where we feel like we're not adequate if we're not doing something. Being still is just different. Being still is clearing your mind. You can literally sit down and meditate, right? We didn't talk about meditation yet.
Listen, and one of my favorite ways too, I was introduced to meditation through yoga, because that was, again, seeking recovery from surgeries. I didn't want medications. I didn't want all the doctor visits. Like, what was an alternative?
Right.
So those things definitely super helpful in your healing.
And Gina said, I don't think Black women are taught to be still.
Absolutely, we're not.
90,
we can do it all,
probably
right?
97% of the information we're talking about, we weren't taught. You have to think about
Yes.
our origin. You have to think about where we come from. And so we are always, and that's where our perfectionism comes. We feel like we have to perform, the imposter syndrome. We could have a whole conversation about that. We won't do that today. But we sit in spaces and we sit at tables where we're constantly performing, and that's exhausting at times.
Yes,
so,
Carla said, as Black women, many of us were taught against being still,
again,
right?
Because we're
and
looked at as
abundantly
lazy.
says, the abundantly just said that. It's like, stillness was considered laziness,
That
and we
is
weren't
it.
doing anything or accomplishing something.
Correct.
And I want to listen. So many gems in this recovery plan, y'all. Like, I can't even tell you how it has just brought up so many things for me, just the awareness. Because accomplishment can be a form of burnout as well too, like
Right.
or stress.
We're trying to attain so many things, and like there is no finish line at times, and we feel like less than if we don't. And so that can be a lifelong issue and something that you work through. But I'm just so excited about what this plan is going to bring.
So many things. I know that, we only have a little, like maybe a couple minutes left. So I definitely want to make sure that we close out with a few things and a few nuggets to leave with everybody, because we can't give it all away here, but I definitely encourage everybody to introduce yourself to the 14-day recovery burnout plan.
And it is available on my Instagram, which is the Regulated Reset, and it's the_regulated_reset.
Make sure.
And just check in daily. I've been putting tips up. I just more than anything, I think I'm learning. I've been doing this for 19 years professionally, but when I look back over my life, I think I've been a little, I don't know. This is my calling, and I want to give more than I can take in. And I see so many people needing the tools. I hear people talking about wellness, but not really understanding how to engage in it, and I wanted to start with burnout because in the world that we're in today, with what we are exposed to on social media, with what we have to just ingest on a regular basis.
Gotta be careful about what we take in.
Correct. It's like, how do we expel this? And when you work in a space for yourself where every day you are striving to be a better you just for you, when you are a better you just for you, everything and every person around you, they fall in place. It'll fall in place.
And I think you said something super important, just for you, because the first thing that we love to do is we love to do things because we feel like we have to do it to be present for other people.
Correct.
Or other, like, I got to do this for my kids. I got to do this for my husband. I got to do this for my mom. I got to do this for, no, if you start with you first, right? Because it's a reason why they ask you to put your life vest on or your mask on first when you're flying, right? Because you can't save anybody else until you save yourself first.
Correct.
So I am Nikki Darling. How do we purchase the 14-day reset? So again, I'm going to make sure you guys have that in there. It is the _regulated_reset. is Nicole's page, and you can go to the link there in her bio, and you can actually purchase it on her page there. Sean says, we need a conference. And look, and I am Gina. Yes, I want the conference. This is so rich. So we're glad you asked. So I'm gonna let Nicole just kind of jump in there because.
So I wanted to start just having the conversation to get a feel for not just how many people are burnt out, but just different topics that, we can engage into, that I can engage in with people, so that we can move past these issues, right? And so today was the first day, like I said, me and Kadada on Monday were like, okay, we're gonna do this. Glad we did. But the second step is I'm going to host a half-day Burnout Reset Recovery Conference, and that will be most likely the end of August, early September. So please look out for that. I am extremely excited. I want to provide a safe space. A very intimate space where people can not just come. You need to walk away with these tools. You need to walk away with tools that you can use in your daily living, right? It's important to not just pick up the plan and, okay, I'll come back to this and not come back to it because, it's so easy to do that, right? But that's where we stay stuck.
Sure.
That's where we stay in depression. That's where we stay in anxiety. And we don't have to. It is easier to stay in a negative space than it is to stay in a positive space. You have to work at being positive for whatever reason. If you know anything about laughing, that is very therapeutic, but it takes more muscles in your face to frown than it does to smile. So just think about that.
Right, because it does change the mood of the next person. Because it's interesting, like when you're walking past somebody and you smile at them, and how they just the demeanor completely changes. So I actually thank you, Carla, for doing that. She's going to pin it to the chat. So I dropped it in the chat from the Women of Exodus page chat. So it is on there. Nicole is at the regulated reset. So I see it pumped out through the chat. So I am so grateful for you. I am so grateful for you.
I'm so grateful for you.
Yes, we're grateful for each other.
Yeah,
and we're grateful for everybody on. So thank you, everybody, for just jumping on and just spending some time with us this afternoon. So again, I do encourage everybody to go to get that 14-day burnout recovery plan for yourselves. Also, too, don't feel like, because we think we have to go and just change our whole lives tonight. You don't. Just, what is the one thing that you can do for yourself today? Correct. That you can consistently do that would be easy for you to show up for yourself every day? Correct. Is that just going for a walk? Is that just going to get some sunlight? A coffee, whatever that looks like, whatever brings you joy, whatever just kind of stops you in your tracks and helps you just kind of reconnect to yourself. Correct. Just a few deep breaths in the moment. Just think about the little things that you could do for yourself. So I want to thank my wonderful friend and guest, Miss Nicole Bartell.
And I want to thank you for hosting me.
Oh my gosh. Learning to be more obedient. So thank you for that. But again, thank you all for joining us tonight, and remember to just be good to yourselves, and we are looking forward to more of these. Yes. So keep your lives and your chats open, and don't be afraid. And if you have questions or if you want to connect with us, you can go to the Regulated Reset page. Correct. For Nicole, and you can reach me. Of course, this is I can also be reached at Women of Exodus is my IG page, where you can get a lot more of this information for wellness, inspiration, all the things women. And I'm so great. I'm even more grateful for the men that joined us tonight, because again, like most of what we do, we deal with a lot of women, you know, and helping them to, you know, be their best selves. But I feel like, again, this is also something that men could benefit from, because these are things that we all need to be more conscious of.
Again, burnout does not discriminate.
Exactly. So, again, thank you all for joining us. And remember to be beautiful inside and out. All right.
Good night.
Love you guys. Good night.